Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the live stream. I hope you're all very well this evening. So I want to say a big hello to who is on the stream. We have the Buttons blog. Great to see you, Buttons blog. Congratulations, 50k. Just short of 50k, about 150 subscribers short of 50k. But thanks for that very kind comment. So probably I'm hoping by tomorrow it will hit 50k. That'd be amazing. I never thought it'd actually get to that, but I'll get to that information in a little bit later in the stream. So we have Geektown, great to see you, Geektown. Anonymous, great to see you. Anonymous, sorry. Charlie, great to see you. Tiny Demolition Lover, hope you're very well tonight. We have John O'Sullivan, great to see you, John. Mike, great to see you. Uni, sorry, great to have you on. Enzo the God, great to see you. Killer, great to have you on moderating once again. Thanks very much. We have Draconic, great to see you. Super, great to have you on. We have Dano, great to see you, and Antochi Marta, great to see you. Hello from Ireland. Hope you're very well in Ireland. How's the weather there? We have Cotton Cat, great to see you. Lenan, great to have you on. We have Jared, great to see you. Hope you're well. Philippe, great to see you. Who else have we got? We got Jean, I'm not sure which it is. T. Glasgow Kiss, great to have you on, Glasgow. Hope you're well. We have Katrina Bryce, great to see you. Zoe Castles, great to have you on. We have Constance. Mark, great to have you on. Hope you're well. Who else? CJM, great to see you, CJ. Hope you're well tonight. Red Star, great to see you once again. Canadian Winter, hope it's not too bad. Hope it's not too cold. We have Brian, great to see you, Brian. We have also Great Christian, great to hear from you. Where is Brexit? Exactly, where is Brexit? Where is my mind? The Cheese Factor, I love these names. Great to see you. Solo Logan, UK, great to see you. Ministerian, great to have you on. Hope you're well. We have Conservator, great to have you on, Conservator. Diamond, did I say hello to Dano? Well, hello again, Dano. Wow, 265, so I have to go very quickly. I'll just go very quickly through the names. Magister, KN, Flavio, great to have you on. Mark, I was almost going to say hello to Nightbot. Joe Green, I can't say hello to everyone, I'm sorry. Kendra, Tom, great to have you on, Tom. Cotton Cat, great to see you. We have John. Who else have we got? Cam. Inconsequential, sorry. John as well. Ross. Ted Boy. I love these names. Mark White. And so many more. Great to have everyone on tonight. I hope you're all very well. Where is Trump? Yes, where is Trump? Once Twitter was taken away from him, he scuttled off into the shadows. So guys, welcome to the stream. This is a special stream because the channel has almost hit 50,000 subscribers. Great to see you, James Kerlenzi. Great to have you on. Hope you're well. I have to do a stream with you very soon. Talk about what's happening across Europe and of course with Brexit. So this is a special stream. We're hitting almost 50,000 subscribers. Q8 Library, great to see you. Valerio, thank you so much for that super chat. Big hi from Bedford. Hope all is well there, Valerio. And I will check out that video you sent me, I promise. Grazie mille per quello. So we have almost 50,000, and to celebrate 50,000 subscribers, I want to give away a special prize. And this special prize is some of you probably have an idea of what it could be because of what I asked you to do. I asked you to write the word Mankini in the comment section. I tried to get as many names as possible. I think I got everyone, unless somebody wrote something at the last minute or a few hours ago. I got as many as I could, so hopefully your name was included in the list. it was over 100 and something names. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to spin a wheel, and whoever's name pops up, we're going to reach out to them. Hopefully what I'm going to do is I or a moderator will send a comment we'll reply to a comment that you made on a video, and we'll so make sure if you're the winner that you check your notifications. Mankini, now I'm sorry it's too late. The draw has been closed, but fingers crossed that you are included already in the list. So let's jump to the wheel of names so we can see it all here. So one moment, it stopped for a moment. I'll bring it back up. Oops. Okay, here we go. So I've put in all of the names under the comments that I found. If your name isn't here, I'm sorry. I will do another draw perhaps at 75,000 subscribers. Let's see how it goes. So I'm going to spin the wheel. The name that pops up, we're going to we'll reach out to them. And if someone doesn't reply, if the winner doesn't reply, we'll have to we'll respin on Tuesday. So hopefully that's not necessary. So the winner is going to receive, let me read out the prize. So it's very important to know the winner is going to receive a copy of the Mankini calendar. The Mankini calendar, the one and only Mankini calendar. You're going to receive it whether you like it or not, okay? And of course, as a side offer, we're also going to give you a free connection to Discord. If you're already a member, maybe you can suggest a friend of yours or whatever, and they will be given free access to Discord. So that's where all the fun is at. Normally it's something just for patrons or special guests, but if your name pops up, you will be a special guest and you will be added to Discord, so you can have free access to Discord. So without further ado, I will spin the wheel. No, what happened? Oh, here we go. Sorry about that. Technical issues. Let me just double check. Okay, so I click spin. Here we go. And the winner is The Foreigner. Congratulations to The Foreigner. So The Foreigner, I don't know if you're on the stream tonight. The Foreigner, is The Foreigner on the stream tonight? Brexit wheel. Captain Kremlin. No, please no. So The Foreigner is I don't know if The Foreigner is on the stream tonight, but what I'll do is, or I will do is, I or one of the moderators will do is we'll reply to a comment by The Foreigner, and we'll see about reaching out to The Foreigner. If The Foreigner doesn't reply, ironic, yes. Congratulations to The Foreigner. I don't know if it's male or female, but whatever. More interesting for the results of the calendar. So we're going. One of us will reach out to you in a way, and we'll leave an email address for you to contact us. If The Foreigner doesn't reply by, let's say, Sunday, we'll spin the wheel again on Tuesday night. Okay. So congratulations to The Foreigner. Bloody foreigners! No wonder we voted Brexit. Stop the steal. Captain Kremlin is The Foreigner. Oh. Foreigners are not sexual. Stop The Foreigner. If Captain Kremlin was The Foreigner, I'd be very worried. Okay. All right. Congratulations. So let's move on. So The Foreigner is going to win, of course, a copy of the calendar and free access to Discord. So The Foreigner isn't already on Discord, so that's a positive. Okay, I hope you all enjoyed that. And of course, when we reach 75,000, of course, we'll have another spin or another special prize. So apologies to those who did not win. Better luck next time. If you've seen the calendar, you'd probably go, no, I prefer not to win. So let's see your comments. I know some sexy foreigners, Monkey Clan. No, The Foreigners, he will steal our Mankini calendar. I want to meet a girlfriend from UK and France, so how can she stay in France with me? That's difficult. She'd need a visa. And then she'd need to leave after 90 days and then come back. 90 days in France, yes. So she'd have to return to the UK after 90 days and then return. 2020 calendar? No. Okay, so let's jump into the first topic, of course, Brexit. Yes, we're never going to, we thought this would be the end of Brexit, but this is not the end of Brexit, of course. Brexit is going to be a big issue this year. We're less than a month in, and it's already creating chaos. More chaos than it created last year in just 4 weeks. 3 weeks, more or less. So I want to read this first article about how the Brexit mentality is infecting all parts of the civil service even. So it says here, Britain's refusal to give the EU's ambassador full diplomatic status is a childish insult. So it says here, of all the people in government, Boris Johnson should be first to recognise the status of the European Union representatives. His father, Stanley, was a European Commission official for many years, and the European taxpayer paid the Prime Minister's school fees at the expense of Brussels International School and then Eton. However, in a row that has been rumbling for a year alongside Brexit trade talks, the government is refusing to give full diplomatic status to the EU's ambassador in the UK. Yoval Almeida and his 25-strong mission. The Foreign Office claims it does not want to set a precedent by treating an international body in the same way it treats a nation state, with diplomats affording the privileges and immunities under the Vienna Convention. Britain has ambassadors to any number of international organizations such as the OECD and the World Trade Organization, and expects them to have full diplomatic status, not paying local taxes, a CD license number plate, and other assorted rights. The UK insists its head of delegation at the World Bank and the IMF also have ambassadorial status. So the idea that, yes, the UK's response is, well, it's not a country, so we're not going to give it diplomatic status. But the OECD and the World Trade Organization representatives have the same status. So it's not actually true. And in this case, the UK would be acting on its own. Most countries outside the EU do recognize the EU as in this way, and they give diplomatic status to senior European representatives. So this is once again a snub by Brexiteers, and of course the Brexiteer mentality of everything from Europe is bad, and we're going to treat them like crap. When I was reading this, I thought of an interesting quote by Niccolo Machiavelli, and he said, I don't know if you can see this here, it says, people should either be caressed or crushed. If you do them minor damage, they will get their revenge. But if you cripple them, there is nothing they can do. If you need to injure someone, do it in such a way that they do not have that you do not have to fear their vengeance. So what if the UK had said we're going to cut off completely diplomatic status, it probably would have made more sense than just saying, we're going to give you minor status. So it's not completely, it's not the case that the UK is cutting off completely diplomatic ties with the EU. But what they're doing is they're giving the EU ambassadors lower status, not full diplomatic status. And as Machiavelli said, this is just going to piss them off. And they're going to punish you in return. The Prince, aka the Tory handbook. Yes. Let me read some of your comments. Oh, the irony of Johnson went to the school of Brussels. Perhaps he should go back. Yes. He could meet a few of his old friends. The idea, once again, that Boris Johnson tries to paint himself as, British first. when I think deep down he wanted to be the international man, not the international man of mystery, international diplomat, the man on the world stage. Oh, we have somebody. Okay, Maria. Max, you quoted Machiavelli. I love Machiavelli. Boris the Turk. Well done, mods. Yes. I definitely recommend The Prince to anyone who hasn't read it. Yes, my wife read it at school, and I haven't actually read The Prince. I need to read it, but I am a fan of Machiavelli. Okay, let's move on. Staying on Brexit, of course, we know that, and I've covered in a number of videos about what's happening at the port. The ports, not just what's happening at the port of Dover and the ports connecting the UK to France and the rest of the EU, but also what's happening between Holyhead and Dublin. We've seen how the government in Ireland, in the Republic of Ireland, are pushing forward with closer ties, direct ties to the European continent, and bypassing the UK as a land bridge. But I want to show you this report from Channel 4 News about 200 lorries that were turned back at the crossing point every day since the beginning of Brexit.
Other UK ports, they'd long anticipated issues at the end of the Brexit transition process, but as someone said here, they thought it would be queues of lorries being the main problem, not half-empty ferries. There are lots of factors at play, as you'll hear, but it's those issues surrounding customs and other checks which many tell us are now driving this boom in new crossings from Ireland direct to mainland Europe. Now, those are longer crossings, they're more expensive, but for some it is involving less paperwork and far less potential for disruption than by using this traditional UK land bridge.
I've said that before. It's when it comes to business, people would prefer to pay a bit extra, but if they know that their goods are going to arrive on time. If I can say your goods are going to arrive at this time, then you're more likely to. Woo! Thank you so much for that for that donation. Thank you so much. Very kind of you. Hope you're well. Thank you so much for that. It makes more. It's like, for example, I don't know if any of you have Amazon Prime. Amazon Prime, you pay a little bit extra, but you know that whatever you buy is going to arrive, tomorrow, or it's going to arrive at a specific time. In some large cities, it's actually a 1 hour service. I'm not very familiar with it myself, but I've heard that it does exist. But you pay a bit extra with a guaranteed date. The same way with if you're shipping, people may be willing to pay a bit more, but they know that their goods will arrive on that day. Now, I know there are other issues. For example, the ferry crossings can be rough. There can be delays because of weather. But if you know, look, these are things that can be built in to the time frame. But if you drive to a port and you don't know when you're going to get through it, that can be a huge problem.
And that means a major port like this being bypassed. The local council is worried, the Welsh Government increasingly so. At first light in Holyhead this morning, they're ushered through onto the decks of the Estrid, one of Stena's newest super ferries bound for Dublin. But look beyond and the lorry park is largely empty. So too the upper deck, where the staff stand by, but there are no more trucks to load. It is barely half full. Little wonder they're moving the Estrid onto a new route in the weeks to come, trialling it this weekend, bypassing Holyhead and swapping Anglesey for Normandy.
This weekend, we have to go where the demand is, and unfortunately we'll be taking the Stena Estrid off this route from Dublin to Holyhead and moving it directly from Dublin to Cherbourg, and that's the first time we've sailed direct from Dublin to Cherbourg. We have to go where the freight demand is.
We filmed here in January 2 years ago, in busier times. This is the UK's second busiest roll-on, roll-off port after Dover. Of goods carried on Irish registered trucks between the Republic and mainland Europe, nearly 3/4 pass through Welsh ports. But not, it seems, right now.
We knew the beginning of the year was going to be quiet because of all the stockpiling at the end of 2020, and we knew that due to lockdowns there was going to be a reduction in for instance, non-food retail shipments. But the levels, they haven't recovered that much. They're still 50% down.
One haulier took this photo earlier this week of a near-empty ferry from Wales to Ireland.
It's like a ghost town. The one.
You know what's ironic about all of this is that Wales, and Holyhead in particular, voted to leave. Now I understand, well, I don't really understand why Wales would choose to leave the European Union, but England, Wales voted to leave. Scotland and Northern Ireland voted to remain. Why the hell did the people of Holyhead vote to leave the European Union? Like, what were they expecting? It's not like Holyhead is a port that connects to the rest of the world. It connects to Dublin. Dublin, Ireland, part of the European Union. What was going through people's minds that they thought that, yeah, us in Holyhead we're dependent on trade coming in from the European Union, going out to the European Union. No, we want to leave the European Union. I really struggle to understand what was going through the minds of the people of Holyhead. I could, somewhat understand the rhetoric that convinced people in the rest of Wales, taking back control of our borders. Although what borders, are there a lot of people coming across the sea from France to Wales? In dinghies? I don't think so. That'd be taking the long way around. But what was the motivation for people in Wales, and in particular in Holyhead, to vote to leave? Wales got money off EU too. Lots of poor areas. I'll see nothing from Tories. And that's a very important point, FSM. The idea that money that was coming in from the European Union is not going to be replaced by the Tories, because that money coming into the European Union was earmarked because those areas were deprived, because politicians were not looking after them. Does anyone honestly think that the Tories are going to go, oh, look at those deprived areas, we're going to compensate those areas that lost the money from the European Union? Of course they're not. I think it's actually going to get worse. It's because of the foreigner. Honestly, I did not rig the system. Holyhead is a dump. They have nothing to lose. I know there's some people from Wales on the stream, normally on the stream or on the channel. I'd like to know why the people of Holyhead in particular decided to vote to leave. Welsh-speaking heartland areas voted remain. I don't know if there's, I know that in Ireland, for example, there's money that comes from the European Union to help promote the Irish language in Ireland, and also in Northern Ireland. I'm sure there's also money coming from the European Union to support the Welsh language, and probably the Welsh speakers understood that and said, yeah, we would prefer to remain in the European Union. It's beneficial to us in this way. And I've no qualms with anyone voting because it's voting for your own interest. Nothing wrong with that. I encourage people to vote for their own interests. Stupid is as stupid does. The Tories' very philosophy is never give out money. Yes, 2020 has proven again and again and again. Why the heck did people buy the lies in 2016 and 2019? I don't know. Real, I have no idea. Some people bought it, as I think we saw in some cases it was greed. We saw the man with the glass eels, who it came down to greed at the end. He was being paid by the European Union. He was getting funding from the European Union, and they were maintaining his business in a way. And he was getting greedy. He wanted to make more money, and now he's going to make a lot less money.
When we shipped Monday night, there was our truck on there, and just a unit and a food drop trailers.
He says complexity in the new EU-UK customs procedures and other paperwork is to blame, and he's not alone.
Took me 14 days to do one job.
What have been the problems?
Customs.
14 days to do one job.
Ports in Wales, most of all Holyhead, are a major part of the so-called land bridge between the Republic of Ireland and continental Europe. Freight coming to and from ports like Dublin and Rosslare travels through the UK and over the English Channel. But recent weeks have seen a big shift to alternative routes, including far more freight going directly between Ireland and France and Spain.
If you're just looking at this map, I saw some comments on Twitter, I think it was, by some by Brexiteers who are saying that this area, I don't know if you can see my mouse, this area near Land's End should be patrolled and blockaded by the Royal Navy. Like, why? Let's punish Ireland for not using the land bridge because, you know, we could blockade them and punish them for what? We created this problem. They have a workaround, and we're going to punish them for using a workaround.
Some Irish hauliers tell us it's become easier to use Scottish and English ports going into Northern Ireland rather than using their usual Wales Island route. All of which leaves Welsh ports like Holyhead, one of the biggest employers on Anglesey, looking exposed.
People are extremely nervous, but at the moment it's that uncertainty, and I just want some reassurance from the government that the port of Holyhead is a strategic port and that they will do everything possible to safeguard it.
No, they won't. The government don't give a crap about them. They don't give a crap about the fishing industry in Scotland. Why would they care about the port of Holyhead? It means nothing to them. I'm sorry. It's just going to become like the mines back in the 1980s. The Tories didn't give a crap about the miners. They won't give a crap about the communities there. Boris Johnson may promise to do something, but Boris Johnson's promises are as worth as much as a Mankini calendar. Was a strategic port. Well put, Night Raven. Yes, was. It no longer is. But I still can't understand why people in Holyhead voted to leave. I'm trying to make some sort of analogy. It's like I don't know, a sheep farming, I don't know, more voting to end sheep farming or something like that. If a Tory government sends uninformed brutals into Wales again, there will be serious trouble. I'm not familiar with that. I need to look that up, sugar-free, but it sounds interesting. The fish told them to vote leave. Well said, Philippe. Probably. Well, they're happy fish, you know. Jacob Rees-Mogg said that they're happy fish. A sheep farmer voting to outlaw mutton. Yeah, it's probably well said. Much better than I could think of. Find my reply. Did you read my reply, Tommy? No, I didn't read your reply, Tommy, because I received hundreds of comments. So I saw that you had... you can write your reply here. I'll try and read it here. Although I have 500 viewers, so I'll do my best. Swallow the lies. I don't understand why the average British voter put this circus in charge. But once again, just about this situation in Holyhead. Why did the people of Holyhead vote to leave? We're seeing the consequences now. Their port is going to get much smaller. The jobs are going to be lost. What are these people going to do? They'll have to immigrate probably. And where will they immigrate to? To other parts of the UK, maybe? I don't know. This is another case of people not understanding the value of EU membership. Anyway, let's continue.
The UK government tonight said freight levels across all UK ports have been lower as anticipated, but flows are steadily increasing. Holyhead and other Welsh ports will continue to thrive with their best days ahead, said a spokesperson.
What best days ahead? The best days are behind them. Like, if the ferry companies are moving their ferries to other ports, what will encourage them to return? You know, if the problem is paperwork and the ferry companies decide we're going to offer different services from different ports, you'll have to encourage them to come back. And what will encourage them to, if the problem is paperwork, the solution is getting rid of the paperwork. So how do you get rid of the paperwork? The only way of getting rid of the paperwork would be for the UK to rejoin the Single Market and Customs Union. But I don't hear Boris Johnson talking about rejoining the Single Market and the Customs Union. It wasn't actually necessary to leave the Single Market and the Customs Union. But the Brexiteers wanted that. The Brexiteers wanted a situation where Northern Ireland is in a better situation than the rest of the UK.
How can they be so sure, is the view of the Welsh Government.
Well, we were hoping that as things settle down, the companies will realise that coming through the Welsh ports is a better option. But of course, that's a risk to take, because they may get used to new ways of working, which might be better for them, but it'll certainly not be better for the Welsh economy.
But it's not going, because what's going to happen is, so he's saying, okay, well, it will get better if we can encourage them to return. But the problem is they won't come back so what's the problem? The paperwork. Okay. The way to fix it would be to hire more staff, to streamline the system. But in order to do that, you need to hire more staff. But if the ports are getting smaller, if there's less traffic going through the ports, it means there's less revenue. If there's less revenue, they're going to have to lay off people. They're not going to hire people with the hope that things will come back. No DLC, thank you so much for that super chat. I think this part of Wales was specifically targeted by Facebook fake news ads. About 76 million Turkish are joining the EU and 500,000 coming to Britain. So it's probably the UKIP or the UKIP party or Nigel Farage spewing his lies once again. And what was it? Cambridge Analytica involved in that as well. But it is sad. Thank you so much once again for that super chat, no DLC. But it's sad because the Welsh people are going to suffer. The ports say, we'd like to bring these ships back. We'd like to bring this industry back. But in order to bring the industry back, you'll need to improve the services. But you can't improve the services unless you know that there's going to be traffic. But everything is pointing in the opposite direction. It's like somebody trying to sell black and white TVs or something. Like you could say, look, nobody wants your black and white TVs anymore. But maybe if I invest in new types of black and white TVs, people will come back and buy them. No, they're not going to. That market is dead. Now, something could happen, but it would require, I think, the UK joining the single market and the customs union. You have to take this problem. The problem is the paperwork. The problem is the paperwork introduced by Brexit. If the paperwork was removed, then the traffic would flow freely, and then these lorries would take advantage of the land bridge. Max, you asked me yesterday why I voted for Brexit, and I told you. You didn't reply. You didn't read the article. I'm not sure what you're on about, Tommy. You can tell me now why did you vote for Brexit? Because I can't read all the comments, and I don't mean that I don't mean that in an offensive way. I'm not dismissing your comment. I can't read all the comments. I get thousands of comments per day. I can't read them all and reply to them all. So can you tell me now why did you vote for Brexit, Tommy? Monkeytron, you can lead voters to slaughter, but you can't make them think. With the defunding of public schooling, JD, thank you so much for that super chat, for that sticker. Thank you so much, very kind of you. Conservative wasn't sarcasm, was a legitimate way to get out of the situation. No one could tell these people the truth. Truth has they never would listen. Truth is they'd never listen. Yeah. No, just asking Tommy if he could tell us why he voted Brexit. I don't want to I'm not ganging. I don't want anyone to gang up on Tommy. Okay, he's welcome here if he wants. People are welcome if they want to engage. If people just want to troll, then they have to go. Now Hong Kong is coming around 600,000. Okay, it's long. Please quickly read my reply on the Sun video. Okay, well, I prefer you to write but it could be because of sovereignty, or because of taking back control, or because I lost my job in something and I'd hoping to get better. I don't know. Anyway, so farewell then to Holyhead, bon voyage. It's sad, it's dead. Times once good have gone astray across the seas and far away. Yes, it's a lament, a very nice lament. Wee Scots Dog. Welcome, Wee Scots Dog. I didn't say hello to you before. Okay, let's move on. Of course, sticking with Brexit and related to the ports, of course. Labour calls for more customs agents to cope with Brexit red tape. Michael Gove told numbers trained fall short of the 50,000 promised last year. So you remember Michael Gove had said last year, we're going to hire 50,000 customs agents. You know, when they said, Brexit is going to create lots of jobs, they never said those types of jobs. Checking documents, checking paperwork. These are really, really help the economy, these types of jobs. The government must quadruple the number of customs agents in the UK to ensure businesses struggling with mountains of Brexit red tape do not buckle under the strain, Labour said in a letter to Michael Gove. The Shadow Chancellor for the Duchy of Lancaster, Rachel Reeves, put it to Gove that industry figures showing that only 12,000 customs agents have been trained so far fell far short of the 50,000 the government accepted last February would be necessary to cope with Brexit. Can you please inform me what the government is doing to address this shortfall as swiftly as possible so that businesses don't have to deal with even more disruption, she wrote. Reeves' letter comes as hauliers, freight forwarders and existing customs agents say businesses are struggling with the new trading regime. Customs agents are the private operators who are contracted to do the paperwork for businesses and are separate to the army of officials recruited by HMRC to check the documents are in order. This is also a cost for businesses because businesses have to pay for this staff. Showwords, thank you so much for that super chat. Very kind of you. Keep it up. Thank you so much. Very kind of you. Last February, Gove told the Commons that he would stand by his pledge to recruit an estimated 50,000 agents needed within 6 months. So last February, almost a year ago, Michael Gove said we'd hire 50,000 agents within 6 months. And they haven't hired half of that. But in December, Bloomberg reported that the £84 million fund to train the agents was running dry despite the need for them to end them at the end of the Brexit transition period. What steps are the government taking to address this, and how will they support businesses as they grapple with huge amounts of new red tape and disruption, Rees wrote. It is in the interest of all of us, of us all, for British business to thrive under the new new UK-EU trading relationship. As hauliers and the industry they support buckle under unprecedented red tape through no fault of their own, they need a plan of practical support from the government urgently. In the past, the government has estimated 140,000 businesses who trade internationally have no prior experience of customs because they have only sold goods to EU states. So this is another problem of this as well. The idea that so many businesses have been, started up and they've never traded while the UK was outside the EU. We're talking about businesses, most businesses, I think, have been in existence while the UK was a member of the European Union. So these businesses have no experience of trading outside the European Union, and most of these businesses have trade within the European Union. So it's a huge change for them to start completing customs declarations and things like that. Tiny Demolition Lover, thank you so much for that super chat. Very kind of you. Max, Sir Toby says, Max, over, under on Northern Ireland reunifying with the Republic within 5 years. I don't see it happening within 5 years, but definitely within 10 years. Now, some people disagree with me and they think it could happen sooner than that. But I think we're going to see how Brexit affects this. You can already see how the DUP, the Democratic Unionist Party in Northern Ireland, are extremely concerned with the Northern Ireland Protocol. They want it scrapped. Of course, scrapping the Northern Ireland Protocol would mean that the UK would go back to having no deal, where you would have tariffs along with the checks and everything. So this would just create a disaster. And the UK is not going to. It would involve. Now there are parts of the Northern Ireland Protocol that can be changed, but that needs to be agreed on both sides. But the withdrawal agreement is not going to be thrown away now. I know Brexiteers wanted it thrown away, but at this stage they're not going to do that, because it would help in a sense, not Northern Ireland peace, but it would benefit just Northern Ireland. It wouldn't benefit the UK as a whole. So the DUP would like the Conservative Party to throw away the withdrawal agreement to help the DUP, basically. And the UK government are not going to do that. Thank God they're not going to do that. Boris Johnson has no love for the DUP. And, it's good that they're not able to dictate terms anymore, because they would be willing to throw the entire UK under a bus to save their own arses, because they're extremely unpopular at the moment. They are the party of Brexit in Northern Ireland, and I think they're losing support by the day. So I think let me get back to your question about Northern Ireland becoming part of the Republic of Ireland, becoming a United Ireland. I don't see that happening within 5 years. I think it's further down the road. But it depends on how Brexit manifests. It could speed up the possibility of a border poll. If Brexit is going pretty badly after 4 weeks, less than 4 weeks, imagine what it's going to be like in 6 months' time. What's the situation in Northern Ireland going to be in 6 months' time? So I think making predictions about the future are always difficult, especially when it comes to politics. But I think the next 4 or 5 years are going to be interesting for Northern Ireland. And it's possible there could be a border poll in a few years' time. It could even be 6 months' time. No one knows, because it depends on how the government deal with Brexit. We're seeing that they haven't hired enough customs agents. They haven't prepared the ports correctly. We're seeing Holyhead, just in this a few minutes ago, Holyhead is already suffering. I think the DUP are sexy. Get off the stream, Monkeytron. But let's continue. Brian S, thank you so much for that super chat, Brian. We need to wait 6 months to see if things level off. However, the UK will never join the single market under a Tory regime. And there is, I don't want to put a damper. Thanks again for that super chat, Brian. I don't want to put a damper on too much, but I support the UK rejoining the European Union. and I think a movement to rejoin the European Union is going to get stronger and stronger in the UK. Scotland aside, but because Scotland is probably going to become a member of the European Union much faster than the rest of the UK, because there isn't the EU has been burnt by Brexiteers, by Boris Johnson, by the Conservative Party, and what's to say that Keir Starmer gets into power in 4 years' time, and then for some reason he's out and a new Tory regime is in, a new Tory government is in. And what's to say if Keir Starmer managed to get the UK back into the EU in some way, if he campaigned and the UK rejoined, what's to stop a Tory government sometime later on going, yeah, no, we want to leave again? The Brexiteers, campaigning to leave again. The European Union don't want that sort of mess. So if the UK were allowed to rejoin, I think the conditions would be very different to the membership of 2 years ago. Gradius, thank you so much for that super chat. Gradius, Bev, thank you so much. I wonder why UK pharma. Sorry, let me scroll down. I wonder why the UK pharma industry is so quiet, as literally there's zero pharmaceutical exports into the EU since beginning of January. Keep up the good work, Max. Thank you so much for that. So why are there zero exports into the EU? I'm not... probably, I imagine that because you have to remember that many companies registered in the UK, large corporations, for example, they set up offices in the EU as well. They knew that Brexit was coming. They prepared for it. Brexit is the worst for small industries, small businesses, because they don't have the ability just to set up an office in Amsterdam or set up an office in Paris or in Berlin. They don't have that sort of money. They can't just move staff around. But large companies can do that. It's much easier for them. So they will, if they set up an office in Europe, they're able to trade much easier. I'm not sure of all of how it all works, but I know it is easier for businesses if you have an office registered in the EU. So maybe that's how they're getting around that problem. But also I think maybe some of the manufacturing has been moved to the EU or to outside the UK at least. James, thank you so much for that super chat. Very kind of you, James. For businesses, the fact that exports from the EU can go to the UK more easily than UK exports, that be a big impact for investing. Sorry, for businesses, the fact that exports from EU can go to UK more easily, yes, than UK exports there can be a big impact in investing. Yes, because if we look at what's happening, the supermarket shelves in the UK, production in the UK is not being really affected because products are flowing across the border without any checks taking place. No checks are taking place for the next few months. When that stops, that's going to be a problem. And it's going to have an impact on investing, because if you're seeing it's easier for me to export into the UK than to export out of the UK, then you're going to invest in the EU. You're not going to invest in the UK. And I feel bad about all of this because, Brexiteers voted for something. The Brexiteers should be suffering the consequences, not the people who voted against Brexit, not the people who were raising this alarm bell in the UK for years and years and years, saying this is going to be damaging to us. If Brexit only negatively affected Brexiteers, then I don't think anyone would be talking about any of this. But unfortunately, the Brexiteers voted to make non-Brexiteers as well poorer. They voted to close down, to damage the port of Holyhead. They voted to make the port of Dover more difficult for trucks to pass through. They voted for this. Frau Burns, thank you so much for that very kind donation. Very kind of you. Thank you so much. You know, this is the worst. This is one of the reasons I'm so angry about Brexit. You know, Brexiteers probably love this, love me saying these things. Oh, he's angry, his tears for Brexit. Because ordinary people are suffering. I've said this before. Jacob Rees-Mogg, Boris Johnson, Nigel Farage, they're not going to suffer. The ordinary people working, as we've seen here in Holyhead, in the port, it hires hundreds of people. It employs hundreds of people. A lot of them are going to lose their jobs. Now, for some Brexiteers to say, well, that's the cost of freedom. Okay, but when they need to go and pay their bills, can they say to the gas company or the electricity company, I'm sorry, can I pay with freedom? That's not going to wash. When these people, when their communities suffer because they don't have any, there's no money being pumped in because the money has been taken away, the investment has been taken away. What are Brexiteers going to say to them? Oh, well, we have control back. Okay, does control pay the bills? Will control get me a job? Like, this is, I'm still convinced that the people who continually bang on about we won are people who are not going to be affected by it. I don't know if the people who are saying this are multi-millionaires, or they're doing very well for themselves, or their industry is not going to be affected. I don't know. I don't know, what do you sell? Do you work in the funeral business or something that you're not going to be affected by Brexit? Perhaps your business is not going to be affected. You're not, but other people are. And you can say, I'm going to be okay. But what about those people? I think in a society we should care about others, not just care about ourselves. Only 210 likes. Guys, smash that like button. Wow, 500 viewers. That's great. Okay, let's move on. So just about the traffic, I just want to do one more video on the traffic at the border.
It has dropped by almost 1/3.
So just in this report from Sky News, it's just going to talk about the amount of traffic. It's more or less covered what we saw before, but it's a bit more detail about the amount of traffic that has decreased at the ports since the beginning of the year.
Since the end of the Brexit transition period. That's according to data seen by Sky News. And at the same time, costs have risen, as our business correspondent Paul Kelso now reports.
At a warehouse in wintry Kent, a Spanish lorry completes a 1,000-mile journey to meet our year-round demand for summer produce. There's more room than normal inside. Snowstorms in Spain have hit supplies of some crops, and COVID continues to cut demand.
Well, we import a lot of soft fruit at this time of year, a lot of berries as well as citrus coming in from Spain. Predominantly in January, the main challenge is the weather.
But there's another issue that won't pass with the seasons. New red tape at Britain's borders is a fresh challenge, even for companies like this, with almost 70 years trading experience.
We've had the added challenge of Brexit and the added documentation that requires. Hauliers have an extra cost in coming here. They don't know if their drivers are going to get back within a certain amount of time. If the wheels aren't moving, they're losing money.
I think that's a valid point, that they don't know whether they'll get back in time, because many of these lorries are not just providing a delivery service for one company. What they're doing is they're providing delivery service for multiple companies. So you have a timetable. You say, okay, I arrive in the UK and I deliver my goods, and then I go to another part of, then I return to the EU and I go to another part of another country in the EU, or I go to another place, and you do a number of runs. That's not going to be possible anymore, because you're not sure whether you're going to be able to cross the border at the time required.
And ultimately, so are we.
Freight ground to a halt in December when the French border was closed by COVID. But with routine testing now in place, companies still face new customs checks and paperwork, adding cost and complexity. Freight volumes have slumped as a consequence. Lorry traffic in both directions from EU states down 29% year on year. And European hauliers are less keen to come. The number of freight contracts from France to the UK rejected has risen 168%.
168% of contracts rejected. So companies are saying, we don't want to to travel into the UK.
On last year. And that's put costs up. Moving cross-channel freight now costs 47% more than in January 2020.
And of course, who's going to pay for that? The people at the bottom. The people who are struggling are going to pay face the consequences of that. Once again, Jacob Rees-Mogg, Boris Johnson, Nigel Farage are not going to be affected. If the price of gin, or was it cognac, goes up, does anyone think that Nigel Farage is going to suffer? He's going to go, I better cut back on the old cognac because it's expensive now. No. But people who want to buy fresh fruit and vegetables from, for example, from Spain or somewhere, they're going to pay more. Now, if you're on a universal credit, for example, or if you're on a very tight budget, an extra few pounds, an extra few pounds a week or a month is going to make a big difference. Once again, it's not going to affect Jacob Rees-Mogg. Jacob Rees-Mogg, you could double the price of whatever he drinks. I don't know, whatever he drinks. Something from the 1800s. Something originally from the 1800s. What did they drink back then? I don't know. Fortified wine or something. But he will not be affected by that. The ordinary people at the bottom will, of course. And we've seen how the port in Holyhead is going to suffer as well. And those people are going to be out of work. They're going to be on universal credit. And they're going to suffer the consequences of the extra cost for Brexit. And Nigel, very well said, Maurice. Nigel has his EU pension. Isn't it interesting that Nigel Farage hates the EU so much that he never gave up the pension? He never said, I hate you guys so much. Here, take back your pension. I don't want your blood money. I don't want your dictatorship cash. I want to be free of you completely. No. He said, no, I don't like. I hate the EU, but their money is good. I'm not going to say no to the money. As I said, he probably, when there was free drinks during the meetings, I'm sure he filled his belly, and probably filled his pockets as well.
Brexit has erected barriers to trade between Britain and the EU where previously there were none. And just because you can't see them and the traffic is moving on these motorways in Kent doesn't mean they don't exist.
Because, traffic is moving at the moment. I know that Brexiteers would say, but look, everything's moving. It's quiet. It was Project Fear, but because of the paperwork, haulage companies have decided to avoid the ports. We've seen in the previous report how companies in Ireland are moving the ferry companies are moving their crossings away from the UK and towards continental Europe. Just a moment. Okay, guys, we're about halfway through the stream, so I just want to lighten the mood a little bit, as always. So we just listen to a little comedy piece, and then we'll come back with the serious discussion once again. So just bear with me a moment. Hopefully this works. Yes, I think.
To see the name of the ship.
Let me just turn this down a little bit. I'm quite new to this meme with Bernie Sanders sitting in the cold.
Was a ship that put to sea. The name of the ship was a billy of tea. The winds blew up her bow, dipped down below, my billy boys blow. Soon may the willow man come to bring us sugar and tea and rum. One day when the tonguing is done, we'll take our leave and go. She had not been 2 weeks from shore when down on her a right whale bore. The captain called all hands and swore he'd take that whale in tow. Soon may the willow man come to bring us sugar and tea and rum. One day when the tonguing is done, we'll take our leave and go. Before the boat had hit the water, the whale's tail came up and caught her. Hands to the side, harpooned and fought her when she dived down low. Soon may the willow man come to bring us sugar and tea and rum. One day when the tonguing is done, we'll take our leave and go.
Very good, Bernie. I didn't know Bernie was that good at singing. Congratulations, Bernie. Okay. That was weird. All right. Let's move on. Oh, okay. We can't get away from the pandemic at all, can we? Let me just read some of your comments before we move on. Yeah, more sanity. Yeah, something. So now that the crazy Agent Orange, I like to call him Agent Orange, is now out of the White House. The Angry Orange. Does anyone remember that? Was it a YouTube viral video? Was it the Angry Orange? I don't know. Does anyone remember that crazy thing? Donald Trump was the Angry Orange. He was the original Angry Orange. Bernie has an accent. Yes. I'm not going to try and replicate Bernie Sanders' accent, but clone Bernie. I like Bernie's mittens. I want to get a pair of those mittens as well. Bern said the Seth Meyers, so I was just called. Never speak of him again, please. Yes. We will not mention the annoying orange. No, not the angry orange, the annoying orange. Yes. I'm smitten with Bernie's mittens. Very nice. Bitter orange. Mittens marketing video went viral. Smash the like button, guys. Yes. It was a sadistic Satsuma. When the tonguing is done. What's that? The annoying orange. Okay. Anyway, let's move on. So, reasons why COVID variant could kill more people are uncertain. Those who may have been comforted in recent weeks by the evolutionary theory of virus mutation, that a more transmissible they become, the less lethal they are, may now be pondering the news that the new variant that originated in Kent. What is it about Kent? We have Kent. Does the virus have a Kent transit visa permit? Was it the permit you need to get into Kent? Kent needs to close its borders. Now only spreads more easily. Not only spreads more easily, but may kill more people too. Britain's chief scientific advisor, Sir Patrick Vallance, at the Downing Street press briefing said it could be that in people over 60 with COVID, 13 or 14 might die in every 1,000 instead of 10 as has been the case. The reason still seems to be uncertain. That's extremely concerning because at least if we know, we can do something about it. In the same way that the pandemic was much stronger, it was much more difficult to deal with at the beginning of the first wave because we didn't know how to fight it. We didn't know why it was killing people in older age groups, and then it moved on to people in younger age groups. This strain, of course, we don't know how why it's more lethal, and it makes it much more difficult to fight. The theory of the trade-off between infectivity and lethality goes that a virus is programmed for survival. If it's too deadly, it will kill off its hosts. So it will start to spread more. The lethality reduces because if it doesn't, there would be nobody left to infect. Isn't it interesting how a virus can think in this way? SARS-CoV-2 has a way around this conundrum. It infects people before they know that they're ill. So anyone carrying the virus could be walking around feeling fine and spreading it. I feel fine, and I hope I'm not spreading it. By the time someone has been admitted to hospital and is fighting for their life on a ventilator, transmission to other people has already happened. So it's a bit like what was happening in the first, where there was a lot of asymptomatic transmission. The fact that people die is almost like a side effect, said Professor Dina Filley, virologist at University College London. One possible reason is that the increased transmissibility that we have been seeing in this virus, the virus, is a result of people having a higher viral load, more of the virus in their respiratory system. It would then follow that if this is the mechanism, then with the more viral replication going on, you can imagine that could correlate with worse disease, said Fillory. Until now, that has not been documented, says Valence. He says Valence said that they did not think a higher viral load is responsible. He said it may be that the new viral binds more solidly to the receptor and gets into cells more easily, or grows more rapidly in certain cell types. So we see the deaths per day are increasing, but this is extremely concerning, because if we don't know what's happening, it's much more difficult to fight it. COVID has been has a better shanty song. The idea of herd immunity by herd community spread is a policy on every fascist manifesto. That's well said. I agree completely, no DLC. There is a blind logic to evolution and the struggle for life. How's the herd immunity going, Boris? Remember, it's less than a year ago. Less than a year ago, Boris Johnson was saying we need to take it on the chin. I think Max is actually British. Those were too many stories in a row. Oh, apologies. I'm getting crapper at reading. I should get reading glasses or something. Blame it on my eyes. Now, related to that, I just want to show you this video. About the new variant. So I just want to show you this. But if we don't know what's happening, it's going to be. It means that we're going to have more lockdowns. So I want to show you this interview between Boris Johnson and the experts and Sky News. So they ask about the peak. Is there going to be another peak?
Prime Minister, if the new dominant variant in this country is more dangerous than the first one, is it really right that there are more people out and about than during the first wave, and that the rules are more lax? Is there not more that you could be doing to keep people safe, like you did last year?
Just to comment on that, if the situation is worse than last year, then why are the restrictions lighter than last year? It doesn't make any sense. Like, there's a new variant. It's much more deadly. It spreads much faster. As we've seen in the report before, which is almost a contradiction. It normally, a stronger variant spreads more slowly. This one spreads faster and it's more powerful. It's much more deadly. So wouldn't you think that Boris Johnson would be raising alarm bells and saying we need to go into a stricter lockdown? But there are things about, we're going to allow up to 14 people to meet. This can't be happening. We need to have a stricter lockdown.
Patrick, you said that this new variant of coronavirus spreads more easily, but you haven't concluded why. Do you have any early theories as to what's going on? Any different competing possibilities? And to Professor Whitty, with infections now going down and the R number below 1, are we actually at, or even perhaps past, the peak of infections?
Sam, we are enforcing the law very stringently with increasing toughness. You'll have seen what the Home Secretary, what Priddy had to say.
But it's not stricter. It's clear that it's not stricter. Like, just by Boris Johnson saying, yes, it's stricter, does not mean that it's stricter.
About fines, we will do it. We will enforce the law. We will make sure that people.
The fine is £800. Now, why is the government decide how much the fine is? So why is the fine £800 and not £8,000? Like, it's just a number that the government can decide. Why is it £800? Now, you're probably saying, well, £800 is a lot of money to me. Yes, it's a lot of money to ordinary people, but it's not a lot of money to, for example, celebrities or politicians, for example, or probably to Dominic Cummings, £800 is probably not a lot of money. £8,000 might be a different kettle of fish. You know, maybe I'm being excessive here, but I think a proper fine would encourage people not to. Instead of a fine, how about 2 weeks in jail? Reagan Elite, welcome to. Sorry, I didn't say hello to you before. Welcome to the stream. Yes, 2 weeks in jail, but then but you know that would piss off a few donors, perhaps, or politicians themselves. Can politicians go to jail? We've seen the effects of this government's lax Christmas stance. Was it 1,500, 1,600 people? Almost 2,000, getting close to 2,000 people died yesterday or the day before. It's £800 per person in the party. £800 fits Dominic Cummings' glove compartment. A different kettle of fish, too soon. Max, too soon. It's £800 because that much Dominic Cummings with him when he goes to Burnham Castle. We have to laugh at these things because otherwise you cry. Fine should be a percentage of income or wealth. Very well said. Crispy Pew 44. Yes. In Switzerland, I think it is, fines are proportional to your income. So if you're caught for speeding and you're caught for speeding in a Ferrari, your fine will be much more than someone who's caught for speeding in a Fiat, for example. It's not the UK, it's Britannia. No. It's okay, Max. Only 1,401 dead in the last 24 hours. That's terrible. And, you know, I was speaking to someone about this the other day, how we've become so accustomed to these number of deaths that it's like, yeah, whatever. Let's talk about something else. It's Finland not to not. But it's we just become so desensitized. I remember at the beginning of the pandemic where 200 people have died, 300 people have died. Oh my God, will it ever reach 1,000? Hopefully it'll never reach 1,000. And now 1,400, as you said, 1,401, 1,200 the other day, 1,600 the other day as well. And it's just, yeah, okay, whatever. During the Black Death, I remember reading a story about a man whose child died, and he said, because people were so, I know I'm going off topic here, but people were so surrounded by death on a daily basis, that he said in his diary, I think it was, he said, I got up this morning, my little child died, we went out to get some food, and we met our neighbour or something like that. And he had written it in a sort of matter-of-fact way, because it had become so normal to people to see others dying on a daily basis that even somebody within his own family was just basically a footnote. And we shouldn't get like that. Every life that's lost is a tragedy, and never mind what the politicians say. Yes, every life is a tragedy. No, for them it's not, because if it was, they would be doing something about it. Boris Johnson wouldn't be looking over his shoulder going, if I go too far, maybe Sir Desmond Swayne might get upset. Why does Sir Desmond Swayne go to the House of Commons? Why? Why doesn't he just stay at home? James, thank you so much for that super chat. The tests are not good enough to stop the spread. Thanks for that. We're not hearing much about testing at the moment. Mark, good night. Have a great night. See you soon. Hope you're well. Thanks for coming on the stream, Mark. Anyway, let's continue.
engage in activities that would mean mass transmission of the disease or substantial transmission of the disease. But it depends on all of us, depends on everybody watching, doing the right thing, avoiding transmission. That is far more powerful and far more effective in stopping the transmission of this virus than police action or new laws from...
But it's not about... that wasn't the question. It was about why are the restrictions laxer now than they were at the first pandemic. Like you can't say they're not, and what we're doing is we're imposing new fines. But it's about the restrictions, not the fining process.
From the government, and that's what it takes. The rules are very, very clear. Stay at home, and unless you have a very, very good reason for not staying at home. Protect the NHS and save lives. I think the people of this country really understand that. All the evidence is that they comply with the measures when it's necessary, and when we'll get it done. And as I said,
then look. Why did the numbers go up recently? This lockdown has been implemented. Well, of course, there was the Christmas disaster, which we're probably seeing the results of now. Hopefully, the new cases are dropping. The number of deaths are going to take weeks to follow on from that. If the cases are dropping, that's good, but this new variant is extremely concerning, because there's a risk that the numbers will drop for a bit and then the new variant will take over and the numbers will start to rise again. But in order to stop that, you need to have strict rules, and you need to keep them in for as long as necessary, not just an arbitrary date like we saw before.
There are signs that this is working, but it's going to need continued resolve and determination.
In terms of the why it may be transmitting more readily, people are looking at this, in laboratories all over the world for all of these variants. I think one thing that we don't think is the cause is that people have a higher viral load and shed more virus. We don't think that's the case. It may be that it binds more solidly to the receptor for the virus and gets into cells more easily as a result of that. It may be it grows more readily in certain cell types. Those are things that people are looking at, and more information will come. But I think what we can conclude is there must be some mechanism by which it can actually, as I say, either bind or enter cells somehow.
And in terms of the infection rate, if you took the country as a whole and just averaged it, overall the number of infections is broadly going down, but it's at a very, very high level, and it is extremely precarious. And I really want to stress this. A very small change and it could start taking off again from an extremely high base. And there are some areas of the country and some age groups in which it does not appear to be going down. For example, in people 20 to 30, the evidence is actually it may still be increasing in some parts.
So people between the age of 20 and 30 is increasing. Why is that the case? I would imagine it's because people at the age of 20 or 30 are maybe working at the moment when they should not be working. But if people are working, shouldn't they be staying at home? Boris Johnson said stay at home. But if people are being forced because they can't rely on the government aren't going to provide the necessary financial support to stay at home, they're going to work. And when he says 20 or 30, I'm thinking of maybe people who work in the service industry, people who work driving courier vans, or working in bars or restaurants, although they should be shut at the moment. I'm trying to think of maybe in supermarkets or something. I'm not sure why that age group are seeing a massive increase. Max, find Piers Morgan holding Gavin Williamson to the fire on GB this morning. Absolute disgrace. Yes, I saw. I think, was it this morning or yesterday? I'll try and find it. Maybe I can do it now. We could watch it together. But it is related to what we're... Thanks very much for that super chat, Beer Wizard. Let me see if I can bring it up, because it is something hilarious to see. Twitter. And Gavin Williamson.
the schools would definitely...
This was on the 21st, yes, yesterday. So I saw this, yes, so it was yesterday. Once again, it's a bit like what happened with, what was his name? Oh, the name is lost now. But another politician. Who did he ask? I actually did a response to it. I can't believe I've forgotten the name. Tell me in the chat. Who was the other guy that Piers Morgan attacked? Zero contract employees have to work. They have no choice. I agree, 100% orange. And when Piers Morgan became a semi-national media hero, the country is screwed. Yes. Glasgow, I agree 100%. Yes. Brandon Lewis. Yes, Brandon Lewis. Okay. No, Matt Hancock. No, it's Matt. Yeah, Matt Hancock. Matt Hancock. It's the age, Max. don't remind me. It was with Matt Hancock. That was hilarious. Matt Hancock, couldn't. Will you apologize for voting? Do you regret voting to, take away these children's? We're really happy about what we did. Are you? Do you regret it? Yes or no? We did a great job. Okay, but let's see this. Stop it with me blabbing. So this is Gavin Williamson is annihilated by Piers Morgan with a charge sheet of failures and asked, why are you still the education? So this was Gavin Williams being asked. I was actually going to do a video on it, but then I didn't. Gavin Williams being asked after he was told, look, you've made a disaster. Look at you closed the schools, then you reopened the schools for a day, and that probably helped the spread of the pandemic and all of this.
You assured us in late December that the schools would definitely be reopening. Everyone got wildly excited and everyone went back to school for one day, and then they had to shut, which was one of many, many U-turns that you've had to make in this pandemic. I mean, if you go over your charge sheet, your record as leading our education system, repeatedly shamed over school meals by a footballer, exam result fiasco, the school reopening catastrophe, where you basically sent millions of kids back to school for one day to all infect each other and then go back to their homes so they could infect their elderly relatives, which may now be why we have this horrifying daily death number. We had a poll at ITV 2 weeks ago. We asked England's teachers whether you should resign. 92% of them said you should go. And it does beg the question, given this series of abject failures that you've presided over in the last 10 months, why are you still Education Secretary? Why haven't you done the right thing and resigned and let somebody more competent take over and do a proper job? Because you have failed our kids.
So, Piers, we're facing more disruption to our education system than we've ever seen, even during the Second World War. We are faced with a new variant of the virus that at the start of December wasn't known about, and even in mid-December...
We knew about the new variant on the 19th of December because the Prime Minister told us it was 70% more transmissible. And yet you said a week later...
It was actually on the 9th.
Later, the schools were going to reopen, even though many experts were saying, don't be ridiculous, that is a crazy thing to do. You then insisted on reopening them for one day and said there was not going to be a U-turn, and literally after one day, you shut them down. It is hard to conjure up a more incompetent decision-making process than that.
I would love to know what's going on inside Gavin Williams' mind. He's going, fuck you. Fuck you, Piers Morgan. Oh, damn, it cut off. Wait a minute. Maybe it's here.
Resign.
My job is to deliver the very best for every child in this country. That's what I'm focused on. Today we're launching a Skills for Jobs programme. This is about,
you're skilled at
like
your job,
so many
Mr.
people,
Williamson?
Yourself included, who went
Are you skilled at your job?
College. We're very much focused on actually making sure...
Are you skilled at your job? Given you're launching a Skills for Jobs programme, are you skilled at your job?
You just go, I'm focusing on, and it just went from one I'm focusing on to another I'm focusing on. Damn, Piers Morgan is making me not hate him. No, Piers Morgan is a horrible individual, but when he holds politicians to account, where's my whip? You have to cheer him because he's doing a great job there. He's doing a much better job than the BBC ever do. He's doing a much better job than many journalists will do. Because I think the BBC are always afraid to ask too difficult a question, especially from a government minister. Anyway, whoops, I just changed that. So I want to show you this video about why.
Just as the vaccine.
This is about how long this lockdown will last. So the lockdown at the moment, to help reduce the spread, how long is it actually going to last?
Rollout was giving people hope that the easing of restrictions could finally be on the horizon. New figures out today suggesting infection rates could still be on the rise have suddenly cast doubt on the future once again. And tonight the Home Secretary responded with tougher measures for rule breakers in England.
And today I can announce that next week we will be introducing a new £800 fine for those attending house parties, which will double for each repeat offence to a maximum level of £6,400.
It does seem once again like you're blaming the public for breaking the rules when could it be that the problem is actually the rules themselves? Given the numbers, do you think it's time for measures to be stricter?
The majority of the British public who are complying with the rules will want that assurance. They want to know that when it comes to policing, that those who are breaking the rules are being fined. And these egregious breaches are costing lives.
Earlier this month, the Prime Minister seemed to be suggesting that lockdown could start to lift by mid-February, when restrictions will be reviewed. But today, the tone has changed to one of caution. When asked this morning, the Prime Minister couldn't even say whether it will be spring or summer when things start to get back to normal. And on schools reopening, the Education Secretary couldn't put a date on that either, saying only that he hopes it will happen before Easter. And that caution carried through to the House of Commons, with the former Health Secretary calling for immediate action.
If we're going to bring down the horrific death rates that we're now seeing, should we not be securing our borders with quarantine hotels, ending household mixing outside bubbles, and following Germany in mandating FFP2 masks in shops and on public transport to give better protection to wearers?
So that's a number of things I want to talk about. Yes. So the fact that when people are coming into the country, what happened? I shared it on Twitter. It was a story about the. What was her name? I forget what her name was, but she's the Lord Mayor of Dublin. When she travelled to China, no, it was Hong Kong in 2002. She was sent to a hotel to isolate. This was during the SARS outbreak. And she said, look, it wasn't a very nice experience, but she understood that how this was the correct way to deal with it. As people come into the country, they need to be isolated. The same what happened with New Zealand. Look at how New Zealand dealt with this pandemic. Bollywood. So you need to, and the other was about, oh, sorry, I've forgotten what he said. The second one, he said about the hotels.
Mandating FFP2 masks in shops and on public transport.
Yeah, mandating these FF2 masks is another proper approach, because what's happening is you're seeing people. I've seen videos of people in the UK, for example, walking around without masks on. Now, people have told me that it's because Hazel Chu. Thank you very much for that, Hazel Chu. I've heard about people. People have told me it's not mandatory yet. Now, I don't know what the situation is. Are masks mandatory in the UK yet? In England, for example, or are they not? They're mandatory in shops, but are they not mandatory in general? The mandating of FFP2 masks is essential. And get those homeless people from the streets in hotels too. I agree 100%, Aki. Yes. Patel should be deported herself instead. I like the idea of you screaming Patel and then returning to listening normally. Patel! Okay. Pale horse. Masks with yellow stars on them. No, I don't understand. Yes, I imagine Priti Patel would be utterly revolting if you ever had the misfortune to come across her. People not wearing masks and people not wearing them properly. Example, nose stuck out. Yes, people are using them like chin bras or something like that and not wearing them properly. Only in shops and public transport. Thanks, Pilates Masher. Blue mask with the yellow stars. Sorry, I didn't understand. Dano, thank you so much for that super chat. Keep it up. Thank you very much. Yellow stars, Jews, really? Yes. Ironically, Priti Patel is one of them foreigners running the country. Public follow rules when politicians break rules. Well said, James. Yes, we've seen the fiasco with Dominic Cummings and other politicians and politicians breaking the rules, and the public get punished, but the politicians do not. Eurostars get it. Okay. I was getting a bit worried there as well. Thanks James for that super chat as well. Okay, let's move on away from the pandemic. I want to move across the ocean, of course, to the United States, and I want to show two videos which are quite interesting about the new change that's taking place in the White House.
Joe Biden has officially rescinded Donald Trump's national emergency declaration along the southern border, and as a result of that, has also officially canceled, at least temporarily, the construction of Donald Trump's border wall.
Fantastic. Donald Trump's border wall was a piece of crap, okay? And it was a terrible idea from a terrible president for a terrible group of people, racists and bigots who wanted a wall built. If people were concerned about quote-unquote illegal immigration, they would be looking at not the border, but people who were overstaying their visa. The vast majority of people, Farron is great, yes. The vast majority of people who are in the United States in an undocumented way are people who have overstayed their visa, including Irish people. Okay. I'm holding my hands up here as well. Not that I have done it, but because people from all over the world have stayed in many countries around the world, have stayed in the US and overstayed their visa. So they are technically illegal. Okay. So the idea of building a wall was just red meat to the racists, red meat to the fascists and the bigots. That's what it was all about. 80 miles of new border is all. But the downside of this wall, apart from the political aspect, was it was extremely damaging to the environment. Many migrating birds and animals and reptiles were trying to cross, and they were unable to, and this was detrimental to the environment as well. So I hope Joe Biden or someone will speak to Joe Biden and say, Mr. President, tear down this wall because it needs to go. It's a horrible... I hope it remains a horrible footnote in American history, that it will disappear eventually. It has no place. Now I know some Americans will say no, but it serves its purpose. What Trump did was extending it in a ridiculous way. But the vast majority, if people coming across the border, of course you need to secure your border, but building a wall is not the way to do it. If it's about illegal immigration, as what many people voted Trump for, it's the people overstaying their visa. That's what you need to focus on. And also the numbers crossing the border have been declining constantly since Trump came into office. Before Trump came into office. Red Star, thank you so much for that super chat. Priti Patel has the divorced bride of Dracula, and even the undead have more standards, has some standards. Let me see if I can. I just want to show you this. Well, now let's stay with Farron for a moment, then I'll come back to Priti Patel.
Only took 24 hours. But 24 hours after Trump left office, there is no longer the national emergency on the border, because there never was a national emergency on the border. And the border wall, at least for now, is temporarily halted. Now, there's a reason this project is only temporarily halted. And it's not because, we may restart it later. No. It all has to do with contracts. Biden very easily could have come out and just straight up said, yeah, we're done with the project. It's over. And if you do that, you put everybody in an immediate position where you're likely going to get hit with a bunch of lawsuits from your contractors who say you owe me this amount of money. Now, postponing the project, temporarily halting the project, or putting it indefinitely on ice allows you the time to do some studies, come up with reasons why you can't build this, to work out deals with the contractors, because yes, they will have to be paid something. You cannot just terminate the contract and then say, no, you're not going to get paid. They have an agreement. And the way the government contracts work, there are stipulations that yes, the projects can be canceled, depending on the reason. You still be owed X amount of dollars of, X percentage, I guess it would be. It's a complicated process, and they need time to hash it out with these contractors.
Actually, that reminds me of a story that happened here in Italy, where a company I know, I was speaking to somebody, the owner of a company, and he had worked on the Winter Olympics, building a structure during the Winter Olympics in, I think it was 2008 or 2002. I don't remember when it took place in here in Italy, and he was still waiting for money from it. And that was like 10 years later, or more than 10 years later. So yes, it's possible that because of agreements with the contractors, you have to find a way to say, look, we can't continue this, and it would help the government get out of the contract, or at least compensate the ones who are involved in the construction. But I don't think there would be a lot of and probably some of these are connected to Trump, because Trump probably set up shell companies and got them to do all the contract work, and give them money to do nothing, which could be interesting in the long term as well, because when you start investigating how these companies got these contracts, or how they won them, or are these companies connected in some way to Trump, I'm pretty sure you'd find out, and that could be embarrassing for the former president.
So yes, we're still going to have to pay more. But this is a great move by Joe Biden. And again, I'm purely speculating that is why, it's only paused at the moment, or put on ice, and not totally terminated. Could be a completely different reason. Maybe he does want to restart it later. I don't know. But I do know, as somebody who's done a ton of research into the government contract side of that border wall thing, it is far more complicated than most of us think. Now, the other things we know Republicans right now are pushing the talking point of another caravan. As soon as Trump leaves office, by God, they just band together down there in South Central America, and they start coming up here. So they're back on the caravan bandwagon. So you can expect more of that from conservative media. They're going to talk about people coming over. They're going to talk about the drugs coming over. They're going to talk about, oh my God, everything is coming over this border now that Joe Biden is here. It's only been 2 days. And my God, it's pure anarchy down there because of what he has done. Please don't buy into that crap. Please don't be one of those people. Can we please go back to being a country that actually thinks rationally and takes a step back? Like, well, wait a minute. If what they're saying is true, then why am I not seeing chaos? Why are we not seeing footage of people just running across that border every day? Why are we not seeing upticks in crime levels or drug levels or anything like that? Use your brains, folks, because the Republican disinformation machine is just now turning back on, and it's going to start churning out more BS than it has in a very long time.
Unfortunately, I think he's correct. What's going to happen is now, oh look, Joe Biden's in office. Look at the chaos now that's unfolding around the country. We need a border wall. We need another Republican back in the White House again. When was the U.S. ever a rational country? No offense to the Americans here, but we got pictures of people running up Washington Wall. Yes. I think every time a Republican mentions, oh, there's chaos at the border, I'd say, remember the Capitol building? You guys did that. You guys did it on the orders of your dear leader. Now, there's a chance that Trump could be impeached. Now, people are saying, well, what's the point in impeaching him if he's out of office? If Trump is impeached, it means he cannot run again. So if he's impeached, even though he's out of office, it will stop him running again in 2024 because he wants to run again in 2024. James, thank you so much for that super chat. Did you see Biden's impeachment by Marguerite Taylor? No, I haven't seen it. I must check it out. U.S. was briefly rational after Nixon until Reagan. Britain chooses to sabotage its own industry. Nasty, smelly factories. No thanks. Okay, I want to show you something also related. Also related to, of course, to the U.S. Sanity has been returned, especially when it comes to the pandemic.
What has been your experience with this new team? And in your view, what would have been different in terms of the trajectory of this outbreak from the start had a team like this been in place at the beginning?
Well, I can tell you my impression of what's going on right now. The team, I don't know if I can extrapolate other things, but one of the...
So, Dr. Fauci is back in his place where he should have been. We remember... when Dr. Fauci was, standing next to Donald Trump, and Donald Trump was basically telling him what to say and contradicting what he was saying. Fauci is back once again, and this time Fauci is going to talk about transparency and following the science, the opposite of what Trump was doing.
One of the things that was very clear as recently as about 15 minutes ago, when I was with the president, is that one of the things that we're going to do is to be completely transparent, open and honest. If things go wrong, not point fingers, but to correct them and to make everything we do be based on science and evidence.
What more could we ask for? What more could we ask for? It's to follow when something goes wrong, to correct it. Isn't this interesting how he said, if things go wrong? Never said anything like, even Boris Johnson, we're doing everything right. If things go wrong, it's because of the public, it's because of someone else, because of the EU, always blaming someone else. I hope that Joe Biden is going to follow through with this and Joe Biden is going to be consistent here. But I think it's good to start off by saying, if things go wrong, we will fix it. We'll learn from it. And I think it's a pragmatic, honest approach is the best way to deal with the pandemic, and it's also the best way to keep the public on your side. Because the public are not expecting you to do everything perfectly. They are hoping that if you make mistakes, that you will correct for it. And you will admit that you have made those mistakes.
I mean, that was literally a conversation I had 15 minutes ago with the president. And he has said that multiple times.
That you, looking back on your comments of the last 10 or 12 months, would like to now, with that sort of license to
something, do you also notice?
To amend or...
You notice here, and I never noticed this before, they have someone doing sign language in the White House. Trump never had that. Maybe Trump was afraid that the person doing sign language would take something away from him. Be like, oh, look, who's that person? They'd be like, no, focus on me. I'm the narcissist, remember?
Clarify.
No, I mean, I always said everything on the base. That's why I got in trouble sometimes. Right. Yeah.
Yes. You mentioned pharmacies. The new CDC director said today that the goal of getting vaccinations into pharmacies by the end of next month isn't realistic, as had been previously suggested. When will most Americans be able to get a vaccination in their neighborhood pharmacy?
Well, I didn't hear that comment. Are you talking about Dr. Walensky's comment? I didn't hear that comment, so I don't really want to comment on the comment. But what she may be saying is that for many people in this country who don't have access to a pharmacy, they may not be able to utilize getting things in the pharmacy. I'm not sure. I want to be careful because I'm not sure that's what she said. We just had a conversation about how we're going to get vaccines to people who are in pharmacy desert areas where they don't have easy access to a pharmacy. And that's something we're working on and taking very seriously.
Isn't it a breath of fresh air when you have somebody talking about the issue and not talking about, yeah, well, look at my poll numbers and look at how great I'm doing, and just creating all these distractions and then talking about some pointless crap and then attacking the Democrats or something like this. Like, this is the scientist talking, and we're listening to the scientist. We're listening to what he has to say. Damn, that reporter's hot. Yes.
Just to be clear, if you are in an area where you do have access to a CVS or a Walgreens,
Right.
when will you be able to get access to this vaccine like you would a flu vaccine?
You know, in the spirit of not guessing, I'm not quite sure when that will be, but we can get back to you on that.
Just on the broader timeline, you mentioned the fall. We just heard the president say, the brutal truth is that it is going to be several more months. Just to be clear, you're saying by the fall, the majority of Americans you think will be vaccinated?
No, I didn't say that. I said if we get the majority of Americans, 70 to 85% vaccinated by then, we could have a degree of herd immunity that would get us back to normal.
So at least, yeah, if we get to that, not that we will. See, Trump would have said, yeah, it's going to be gone by Easter. Yeah, it's going to be, you'll be back to normal soon. Trump was making promises that he knew he couldn't keep. At least Fauci is saying, if we get to this stage, then we can consider. And I think it's important to be clear with people. If we get to this stage, we're not at that stage yet. We have a long way to go. And the autumn is quite far away. We're still in winter.
The concern I have, and something we're working on, is getting people who have vaccine hesitancy who don't want to get vaccinated, because many people are skeptical about that. So we really need to do a lot of good outreach for that. I mean, I don't know what the best case scenario for me is that we'd get 85% of the people vaccinated by the end of the summer. If we do, then by the time we get to the fall, I think we can approach a degree of normality.
Okay, that's from TYT. Isn't it great to have someone normal back in the White House? Look, and I said before, I'm not Joe Biden's biggest fan. He has done some things immediately. He's rolled back a lot of Trump's executive orders. I think it's important that Biden is not just the opposite of Trump. I think if Biden wants to maintain a Democrat, I don't think Biden is going to run again in 2024. He's probably too old. It could be probably Kamala Harris. But if the Democrats want to remain in the White House, they need to start working on giving something to the working class. I think they need to reform healthcare, work towards Medicare for all or something like that. Unfortunately, I don't think they're going to do that. I don't think they're going to go down the road of Medicare for all. I wish they would, because I think it would give something to people that they could be convinced is important, that they need to keep, that need to hold on to, and voting for the Democrats would keep that. In a sense, it's like, I'm going to give you something, the other side want to take it away. If you vote for me, you will keep that. It has to be something valuable. For me, I'd issue a UBI. Okay, I think if people received a UBI, they'd see the value of it very quickly. They wouldn't want to have it taken away from them. The other side would probably want to take it away. If I could convince the public, you vote for me, I'm going to keep this. I'm going to expand it. I'm going to increase it. You can see it winning. The same way with Medicare for all. Really, I think they should get Bernie Sanders on board. They should go down the road of Medicare for all, something like that. Increasing welfare, working with unions, increasing standards, working rights for increasing working rights for staff, for workers, you have to build something. You have to give the public something. Just slogans and executive actions, executive orders that are, are nice to read about, but don't affect ordinary people's lives, are not going to be enough. You have to give people something. You have to encourage the public to see that you're on their side, that you're fighting for them. Okay, guys, so we're at the end of the stream for tonight. I want to say a big thank you to everyone who's come on the stream. I think we're up to 600, I think, almost tonight. So thanks to everyone who smashed the like button. Thanks for everyone who sent a super chat. Greatly appreciated. Once again, massive congratulations to The Foreigner. I don't know if The Foreigner has popped on the stream, but if you did, Foreigner, you are the winner of the Mankini calendar. I still consider it a crime against humanity, but some people seem to think it's a good idea. I'm joking. And also, you'll win free access to Discord, which is normally just for patrons. So if you'd like to become a patron, you get access to Discord, of course. And if you'd like to support the channel, I understand people are going through a difficult time at this moment. But you can also support the channel by just sharing the videos on social media, on Twitter, on Facebook, anywhere you can. That's a great way to help the channel. Like, subscribe, comment as well. It all helps. It's a huge support. And I want to say once again, a big thank you to everyone who has subscribed, almost at 50,000. It's amazing. I never thought the channel would ever get anywhere near 50,000 subscribers. This time last year, it was about 25,000. I think I did a video about this time last year where it hit 25,000 and I was, wow, 25,000. I couldn't believe it. So the next big milestone is 75. I hope we can get there quite soon. And eventually, maybe this time next year could be 100, but that's a big step, a giant leap for hamster kind. So once again, thanks to everyone for coming on the stream. Thanks for all of your support. Thanks to everyone who sent a super chat. Greatly appreciate it. And once again, of course, a big thank you to the moderators who always do a fantastic job. And I couldn't do it without you guys, the moderators. So before we finish, of course, we have our one for the road. And then I will bid you adieu. One moment.
The new rules are you can't get a takeaway pint for a pub anymore. Shut up. You can't get a takeaway pint. You can't go up to a pub and take a pint and drink it outside. I mean, who the fuck is actually doing that in this weather? Shut up. So you can't do that anymore. No more standing out in the street with a fucking takeaway pint and you're only allowed to meet one person outside your house. I mean, I don't know what more you want me to fucking tell you here. It's a pandemic. Stop standing in the street drinking. You can't just go in and buy a pint. I mean, how many times do I have to say this? Is that you, Tell?
Very good. Okay, guys. Once again, thank you so much for that. Remember, you're telt if you don't. You're not allowed to drink your pint out of the streets. So, guys, have a great weekend. Once again, thanks to everyone who's come on the stream. Thanks for smashing the like button. I'll see you all next Tuesday, same bat time, same bat channel. Stay safe, and as Boris Johnson always says, stay alert. Good night, guys. See you soon. Take care.